Good morning everyone, and a quick shot of the office, and this is Easter Sunday, and there you go. So this is the a talking video with this lovely countryside in the background, and as I've just pressed play, I've realized that you can't see my face, so I will spin the camera around, say hello, and then I'll either walk and talk to camera, or I will show where I'm walking like this. Anyway, I'll pause here. So hello, and this is the other side of the camera. You can see once again my hair's a mess. I do apologize. It's because I get up and I think of something to say, and I come out when the day is breaking and it's lovely. So I don't have time to see hair and makeup, and I forget every single time to do something with my hair before I do these videos. I literally haven't remembered once to have a shower before I do these videos. Anyway, I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see where I'm walking, and I'm going to do a walk and talk. And I can't think of a subject specifically right now, so I thought I'm just going to roll the camera and see how we get on. So I will do that right now. So this is a walk and talk, and my preparation once again is zero. So it's off the top of my head, and what I thought I might do today is briefly chat about AI, Elon Musk, technology, and where I believe we are going in this digital world. Now, many times we watch videos, or our friends chat about technology. We see marketing pieces about new technology and the future. And most often we are presented with a view of the future via marketing pieces. Because what tends to happen is that anything cool that's invented, or a new way of doing something, especially in the tech space, and when I say tech, I'm talking about applied technology or software that we engage with. But you normally see it in commercials, in advertisements, and if you actually look at the content that we have sight of, things really have changed. Technology is really zooming ahead. Now, I know that sounds cliched, but if you just look at the commercials of 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, and you compare those to commercials of technology-related products today, you can see the jump. There's a style difference that would naturally happen, but what technology is doing and can do at the moment, and how good it's got, it really is breathtaking. Now, the reason I mentioned AI and Elon Musk is because if you have been watching the news, you will have seen in the news Elon Musk's attempt to take over Twitter. Now, someone like me finds this incredibly interesting, because Twitter has become something different, especially over the last 2 years because of Twitter, because of COVID, and because of Donald Trump. When Twitter banned Donald Trump from tweeting, that was I think a significant shift in technology and what social media platforms are. I thought it was a very bad thing as well, but the powers that be, and the influence that Twitter, for example, is under, they deemed that necessary, and I thought that was shocking. You can take a positive view from that action, but you can also take a negative. I took the negative because it was clearly a step to quash censorship. Now, we've heard this word censorship many times in the news recently. Donald Trump was the case point, the fact that happened. And so I decided, so what jumped into my mind when I committed myself to chat into video today is, obviously things that I think about in my work. And and I find it very interesting because it's all a precursor to the future. What's coming down the line, down the tubes. So we have social media platforms are changing. It's technology enabled. We have censorship changing, and there's a part of that is very good. A part of that is not good. But actually, if I preface this, I should have perhaps said this once again. I understand, I believe that humans, people, we don't really change. But what happens is that our culture changes. So collectively, corporately, we behave differently. And that describes culture, really. So that is impacted. And so that's where we see change, if you want to define it. And I believe and understand that the only thing that really creates that change is technology. It's because technology allows us to do a job or create a thing better than we did before. And that's the impetus, that's the thing that creates the change. So, where is this technology taking us? Where is this change taking us? Often I start conversations talking a little bit about psychology, a little bit about philosophy, and I often start off with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And basically he said that a human being, first of all, needs to deal with security, i.e. they're not going to be eaten. Then it's food, then it's shelter. Or security, shelter, food. I think food is the second one, security is the first, because if you are just instantly put somewhere and you're about to be eaten, well then the other two are meaningless. But once you've got your safety understood, you then need food to survive, and then you need shelter to recover when you've survived and you've eaten. But Maslow basically said, once you have dealt with those three things, our personalities kick in, they prevail. So, speaking very basically about this, we are born to parents, and depending on who your parents are and, a genetic lottery ticket, you could be born to good parents or not so good parents, or you're born without parents, and that's when we need the state and to intervene and deal with that situation as best they can. That's another conversation, I suppose. But anyway, for the purposes of the point I'm trying to make, so we're born, and to varying degrees, how we are parented and schooled creates, for me, quite a predictable outcome. People argue with me about this. They think that we're full of free will, and we're very exciting and we do lots of interesting. I mean, we certainly do, but the outcomes are predictable, is my point, because we are socialized depending on where you're born, and then depending on some multivariables, a personality is achieved. And then we go on to do stuff. And if you're not already wealthy, you choose to do something that you like to do or you tolerate, that gives you an income, and you buy food and you exist. People that are born and to families where there's a lot of money, so that need to work for an income is diminished. that's an interesting case point, because what these people then do becomes very interesting, because the major driver behind occupation is disappeared. Anyway, so we are born, we then do stuff, and we form a society, and we live, we perform a culture. So we're walking around doing stuff, chatting, and behavior can be observed. So we have society. Now, where I'm getting to with this ramble is artificial intelligence. Because AI, and I think I'll just recap once again. For the most part, when people say AI, I understand, believe what they are really making reference to is machine learning, because that in actual fact is what the machine is doing. It's machine learning. It's using algorithms and data to predict outcomes. So that isn't, for me, real AI. For me, real AI is you would have a machine that when you switched on, the machine becomes independent. Independent and free thinking, and to the degree that that machine has access to other machines and infrastructure is to the degree it could be good or a bad thing. And that's where comments from Elon Musk that true AI would be terrifying, that's how I see it also. It would be truly terrifying, and so we'll have to explain why it would be terrifying. But anyway, for the most part, when people talk about AI, they're talking about machine learning. And so again, what machine learning is you have some clever algorithms and lots of data, and the combination of those two things with fresh inputs creates an output. So we use AI all over the place at the moment via that definition. It's machine learning. But if we get to a more sophisticated machine learning, so a better version of AI, which is where I believe we have got to, the algorithms are getting better, the data, the quality of the data is getting better, so the output is becoming more accurate. Now, the application of this is you will say to a smart speaker or a program in a lab, "Hey program, I want to fly from London to New York in the next month. I would prefer it to be a weekday. I would prefer the flight to be during daylight hours, and I want it to be the cheapest ticket. Can you get me that ticket, please?" And then the smart speaker or a lab test would, in a moment say, "Hi Stephen, I have found you a ticket from London to New York via this airline. It will cost this. Should I purchase it for you now?" Now, at that point, we have reached a very functional, assuming that that is the cheapest ticket and it fulfills all the requests that you've put on it, that would be a very good version of machine learning. Some people will call that AI, and that's where we've almost got to. Now, but if you then said to that program, that thing that you believe is AI, "Hey, how are you feeling today?" The machine is probably, if it's been programmed to answer such a question, is going to look at 90, 100 possible responses to that question and randomly issue one, or issue one based on the time of day and what it thinks is your personality profile. So that would be the response that you got. Now, that isn't artificial intelligence, that's an algorithm. And I suppose that's my working example of the difference between real AI and AI that a lot of people are claiming. Because when the machine can actually think for itself, and this is where the rubber hits the road, because how do you find thinking for itself? So this is why AI engineers are always wrestling with psychology, philosophy, and they are always thinking outside the box. And what they actually have done, and we know, I mean, it is obvious that they've done that, is that they've spent an awful lot of time looking at neurology and looking at how human beings think. This very quickly opens up this dilemma about free will and, you know, what is consciousness. And this is still something that we humans don't fully understand. You know, what is consciousness? When you wake up in the morning and you breathe in, and you're lying in bed sleepy, and you know, you think to yourself, I need to get up and have breakfast. You know, what is that? You know, what exactly is going on? You know, how is your brain really working? You know, why have you woken up? And believe me, the science community in all areas, no one can really explain that. That they can explain jolly good reasons, biological reasons, biochemistry reasons. There's some very good theories that are, you know, half science and half just theory. There are some very good references that enable us to think further. But right now, we don't really know why we are breathing and living and what life is itself. So this is the big conundrum, because these clever smart chaps are trying to emulate exactly this. Now, they are going in that direction. So these quantum computers, to the best of our ability, they've been set up to operate a little bit like how we think our neurology works, how our brains work. And that's happening right now. And that is the way forward, because iron sharpens iron, and the only way you discover something new is that you build something and you shake it until it breaks, and then you rebuild it. And that's exactly what's happening. But we're not there just yet, creating this consciousness. Now, you know, a person is born, they go to school, the person's parents talk to them, you know, they form a personality and opinions, and eventually they decide they want to be a fireman or a doctor, or they find themselves working in a factory, and we then rationalize, we then form an opinion that justifies that behavior. At the end of the month you get a pay packet, and you pay your bills, and then you, with the disposable income at the end, you have a quality of life. So subconsciously we all know that's happening, because we're all party to it. That is our consciousness, and that, to our understanding, is free will. Now, so AI, really, true AI would be a synthetic stroke machine version of that. But this is where it gets super interesting, because I haven't mentioned limbs, or running the 100 meters, or swimming, or sailing. I've just mentioned thought, thinking. Have you noticed that I haven't mentioned anything about the human, you know, using their limbs to do anything? Now, so not only are we trying to create this thinking thing, but then we have got the possibility to attach it to a machine. Does the machine have one arm or 6 arms? Does it walk, or does it float? Or does it walk, float and swim and run and fly? So, you know, this is what's so interesting. We humans now we're trying to build a brain, a synthetic artificial intelligence, and we're also thinking what body we stick it on. Is it just a program inside a computer, or do we stick that inside a machine? Now, Elon Musk, Tesla, are building a bot, a humanoid bot, which is just fascinating. And the reason why we should do it is because it's just jolly interesting. And if it worked, literally sci-fi would be real. Why I'm not bothered about this is creating AI is so flipping difficult, because there are huge anomalies that we don't know about. But we are discovering, and I think that it's only a matter of time before we actually have a groundbreaking discovery that enables us to understand consciousness better. But you know, that would be shocking as well. That would be absolutely frightening. You know, if man was to fully understand consciousness, free will, and what it is, it would be, our whole meaning of life would be further understood, and that would be shocking as well. So going back to AI and this Tesla bot, if this Tesla bot works right now, as I understand it, what the brain will be is, you know, the next generation, the next level of very sophisticated, very capable machine learning. So we're talking about very clever algorithms with an awful lot of data, and it's basically the quality of those algorithms and instructions that would end up in the behavior of the bot, and then we'd take a view on how useful that bot is. I think we should do it. It's going to be jolly interesting. It's going to have, so these things are the things that, you know, that impact society and shape a modified society, which then changes our culture, so we behave differently. But ultimately humans, I don't believe, change. I don't know if I've explained that in a convincing way, but I'm trying to explain how I see it. Anyway, so let's just, I'm trying to land this aeroplane. I'm trying to make a point for this video. If this bot, and the reason that I think Elon has chosen a humanoid, so when I say that, I mean a bot that looks like a human being. It has 2 arms, 2 legs, and can walk. And I think the reason why engineers and creators have built something that looks like a human being is because the human being is quite cool. We have evolved, or we were created, or both. And having 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head and eyes, we are, if you want to take an unhealthy view of a human as a biochemical machine, it is an unbelievably cool organism. We can climb, run, walk, talk, swim, jump, all this cool stuff really well. So we're very purposeful. We've been designed to do an awful lot of stuff. So this is why engineers have looked at the human form and used that form as a baseline, as an indicator of what the machine should look like. And if you look at, machines that we have today, diggers, JCB diggers, for example, they have arms that look like a human arm, and they have things at the end of those arms that dig stuff up or have claws. So, we've already taken inspiration from human beings, like aircraft. An aircraft in the sky looks a lot like a bird. There you go. I think I'm telling people things that they already know here. Anyway, back to AI and the bot. Right, so imagine if right now there is a Tesla bot walking with me. Now, if that happens, imagine how just bizarre that would be. But it would probably, its capacity would be, it would be all designed. So if I said, "Hi Tesla bot, how are you feeling today?" it would just give me one of 100 sentences to respond to that question, based on its environment and what it thinks I might like to hear. So that isn't free will, because if I said to it, "I do not want you to give me one of your 100 pre-programmed answers, I want you to give me a new fresh answer," the bot wouldn't be able to give me a fresh answer because it wouldn't have the capacity to find a new answer. What it might be able to do is chop up some answers and then give me an amalgamation of several answers, but it wouldn't be able to create a new thing. And again, that's the measure of real AI. Real, true artificial intelligence. The bot would be able to create a sentence that's never created before with a new meaning. Now, if it was able to do that, it would also be able to take a view on its free will. And the bot then might decide that it wants to kill me because I'm a nuisance and it's bored of my conversation. Now, that would be true AI and true free will. So I don't know if I can explain it. It is a massive problem, and it's a massive, interesting problem that engineers are dealing with. Well, they're thinking about and they are dealing with. Now, obviously, there are ways around this. You can have kill switches, or you can limit the bot's ability, you can limit its behavior. So that's how we would get around that sort of thing. But just imagine a synthesized bot that doesn't need to sleep and can think much better than a human. What on earth would it dream up? Because it could understand and learn all of our physics very quickly, and then it could create experiments to create new materials or new propulsion methods. And then the bot might want to create a spacecraft because it believes it knows something that we don't and wants to fly there, that sort of thing. So that's what real AI would be. And that's when people say this is scary stuff, what they're really referring to is the scope and capacity of that bot that would be completely unknown by its creator. The creator wouldn't have a clue where it's going to go or think, and that's the bit that's absolutely frightening. I was once asked what to offer a worst case scenario of that, and it would be something like this. The bot might very quickly take a view that humans have correctly identified that climate change is a problem, and an amount of climate change has been man-made. And so the bot would think, these humans, 8-9 billion of them on planet Earth, though very cool, they are destroying planet Earth. And then the bot would make a decision that it has supremacy over human beings, because the bot's carbon footprint is much less, and the bot has put the Earth as a priority over human beings. So the bot has very quickly arrived at the conclusion that planet Earth is more valuable than the human species. Therefore, it will put the planet as number one priority, humans as number two. If that equates to a decision, should I kill humans to save Earth? If yes, then proceed. And that's my worst case scenario of AI. I believe that this is a doom and gloomy video. I do apologise, but that's what I believe could be the capacity of the bot. Now, someone would say, "Hey, Stephen, we have a kill switch in place for that, so we'd just switch the bot off." But also, we would have software embedded in its operating system that would quash any thought or action that harms a human being. So, they could have done that, and that would remedy it. But I revert back to, if the machine is free thinking, it would be able to assume that has been actioned upon itself, and like a virus, it would have been able to work out how to circumvent that instruction. Even though it might be hardwired in, it's going to spend a lot of time working out how to circumvent control over itself. And once again, it defaults back to, if I kill humans, will Earth survive? And if the answer is yes, then kill humans. I really believe that is the frightening thing that people like Elon Musk are aware of, and it's why they say real AI would be truly horrifying. And I mean, I'm laughing about it because it is funny as well. It's funny because the possibility is there. Is it going to happen right now? I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we have synthesized a human experience in a machine. I don't think we're there. We certainly might achieve this in the future. Absolutely. And you know, that's very, very interesting. Anyway, I've been walking and talking for long enough. I hope it hasn't been too painful for people, and I hope this was interesting at least. Please comment below if you think it's rubbish, boring, the production quality is lousy. I'm more than happy for you to say so down below in the comments. And I hope something of this walk and talk is interesting. Anyway, I hope everyone's well on this Easter Sunday, and speak to you again.